What's going on YouTube? So today I'm working on the GregRaceParts, racing intake for the Evora 400. It's kind of redesigned based off of the BOE intake that they developed for the Evora S and the Evora standard Evora on the previous gen. This intake is supposed to work in a similar fashion. I would say the biggest gain or reward from actually really doing this install is really going to be the sound that it does, with it having a different filter setup, more so than the horsepower gain. I think they dynoed the race intake with the Decat and got about 12 horsepower. So nothing major to write home about, but still gains are gains. So I'm not going to complain there. Another big thing I'm loving about right now, I woke up, it was storming like crazy this morning. Now we're looking at 88 and sunny for the rest of the week into Memorial Weekend. So I'm pumped about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of show you a little bit of the things I'm going to do, as well as what the intake looks like. So far I've been satisfied with the parts from Greg Racing, and I can't wait to get this installed and hear how it sounds. I tried to do a video of the previous intake sound. I don't know if it came out well because I haven't actually listened to it yet, but we'll find out through this video, and then obviously I'll get some newer sounds with the setup. So basically I already kind of started, got ahead of myself, but I removed the brackets that are sitting right there off of this tubing right there. I'm gonna take the MAF sensor off, and then I think there's just a couple of unclipping that I started for some of the tubing, and then take this box out here. So the intake box sits over in that corner, and then this side here is what feeds the air for this system. So then let me go over and show you the new intake. So it's a circular design. Put the MAF sensor on here, and then there's the filter. Pretty small, pretty self-explanatory. And this is the tubing to run down the side of the car that'll connect to this. I'll reuse that same tubing that'll connect up by the MAF, and then basically run this down to connect to the side intake on the side of the car. I'm not 100% sure just how easy this is going to work, as there really isn't any instructions for this setup. I saw some older instructions that I will use that I think will kind of be able to follow kind of the guidelines of where some of the stuff is. But I think the hardest part is going to be really trying to just get the intake out of the car and making sure that I'm not pulling any of the wires or tubing that's connected to it when I take it off. I'm going to go ahead and get started and kind of just circle back each time I get to a progressive step on kind of how my progress is going. So I figured I would give a quick update real quick. It's probably only been about 3 minutes, but relatively simple what I did so far, but just want to give you an idea of kind of what I'm looking at and what I believe is the next step. As I said, there isn't any instructions, but I mean, it should be, for the most part, pretty self-explanatory. By just trying to understand, as I mentioned, where a couple of the tubing may be that you might have to disconnect from anything that you're taking out. Let me go ahead and just give you a quick look. So I took the top off of the intake. Let me step out, my shadow's in the way. That bad boy right there. And now if you look inside the car, you can see the access here. So obviously this tubing is going to get reconnected back to the new setup, which comes from the motor to this tubing, which will connect to the intake. And then I got my MAF sensor down here. My MAF sensor, funny it says Toyota Denso. I've actually worked at this supplier on MAF sensors, so it's quite funny. And then you've got the intake. Sorry about poor video, not much space. And I'm pretty sure these this whole box needs to come out. So I'm pretty sure I need to take those 3 bolts out, and then this should lift, and I'm pretty sure I need to take all of this out. So you can see this is connected here with some tubing. So I just need to understand from this tubing kind of how it all operates, so I can remove this box here, this whole setup here. New intake will sit here, and then I'm pretty sure however that's connected back in this corner will be how I connect this tubing here. So you have this, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to connect on the back end using the supplied fastener. I got this bad boy fastened here. I'll re-put the MAF sensor on there and connect the tubing that I just mentioned back to this, and this should sit in the car. I'm not 100% certain, so I'm gonna do a little bit of investigation down in there, and then once I get this out, I kind of share what that experience was like. But so far, so good. No major problems that I've hit. So there's a critical step that I have no idea how to do. Literally like 10 minutes in, everything's going well. It's usually how it always goes when I'm doing any type of project, and then I come across this one simple yet pain in the ass problem. I can't figure out how to get this big bulky intake out without removing things that I'm not too sure how to remove properly. Like, there's this one tube that I really wish I could unclip. I'm not familiar with what this clip is, how it actually operates, and this is my situation. I got this bad boy, like I don't have enough space, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. Why would you make it this bulky? You know, like, golly, guys. It's like ridiculously big and bulky for no reason. So, I'm trying to figure that out right now, and I'm at a loss. Woo, still beautiful out. Feeling much better now. Thanks for GRP on the Instagram giving me some quick feedback on how to get this bad boy out with the proper angle. I did notice, and he recommended to remove the bracket that's connecting the fluid, because it seemed to be slightly in the way for the tubing. Once I was able to do that, I had a lot more leverage with moving it out, and then it was just a matter of getting the proper angle for execution. That's the big boy that I was complaining about. It is out. It's pretty heavy. And that's the lid. So I'll go ahead and put the filter back in there, put the lid back on, and just kind of put this off to the side. Here is the engine bay. So as you can see, I got to remove this back tubing right here so that I can run the new tubing into that direction. And then I had to take a couple wires off, but I'm familiar with how to rewire all that back up. Not wire, but the vacuum lines, re-get the vacuum lines attached. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this in. I need a zip tie. There's this bracket back there that the solenoid was on that was screwed into the old intake. I'll now just need to zip tie that next to the harness so that I don't move around. But I should be pretty good to go on wrapping up this install, so I'm pretty excited. What's going on, guys? So I just got done taking out the wheel. I thought I was gonna be able to do this without accessing through the wheel well, like it said. One of the instructions I saw for the last gen car, as well as after talking with GRP, Greg mentioned you definitely need to do that. So I'll just kind of quickly show you guys the engine bay. I have the intake kind of in there. This pipe here, I need to do a 180 bend this way and then a 180 bend that way to really get the bend properly over here and to get this thing set in right so that you can connect this back. You really need to be able to access from the wheel well to really push it inwards. So got the wheel off, pretty self-explanatory. A couple of screws, like right there, those two at the bottom, a couple more up top, I got to take out, and then I'll be able to take out the fender liner, and then I'll be able to have access to get the tubing connected. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get that done real quick, and then kind of show you guys kind of how the setup looks like before putting the wheel well back in, and hopefully just tighten in the tube, the plumbing back to the intake duct from the side of the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. Wow, got some dirt in my eye. Whew. It's like 90 degrees. It's like 90 degrees out here, guys, but it's beautiful. I got a little ahead of myself, and I forgot to kind of show the pathway, but Greg sent me a picture, and it literally is done the same way. So I'll post a pic right here just so you can kind of see how the bend works in the wheel well. But it's just two 180 degrees, pretty simple. And there's the intake. Got my mat back in. You can kind of see back there, right in this general area, how it's bending this way and then into the intake duct, which is over in that corner, and then down from here it's bending that way. So you're seeing like a whoosh whoosh action, and that's really all there is to it. Pretty simple. Just got the wheel well all put back together, so that's all good. About to put the wheel back on and torque it, and then we'll get our first sound of the new setup. So I'm pretty excited. As you can see, the wheel's back on, so I'm going to probably torque it to the proper settings, and after that I shall be good for startup. Pretty simple, pretty happy. Another great product from GregRaceParts. Definitely have a couple more things I want to do, a couple carbon bits, a steering wheel, and then probably some of the exterior carbon modules I mentioned with the carbon bits. I'm pretty happy so far. Alright, just finished hand torquing the lug nuts back in the star pattern. The manual says 77 foot-pounds-feet, so I did that, did the torque test to make sure it was all at 77, and I'm good to go. So I'm about to go grab the keys, start up the car, and hope that it sounds different. I honestly have no idea if the sound is really going to be drastically different or not. I just know I wanted the race intake because I know it should be a different sound. We'll see how different it is, and I'll let you guys know if it was worth it or not after I do a cold start, let it drive, and then, you know, a full warm, full tilt to see if the sounds are louder or not. So let me go ahead and find my keys real quick. I should probably drive with my wallet too for my ID. All right, time to start this bad boy up. Such a beauty. Fits so perfectly in here, not too snug. We put the RDX in here the first time and it made this garage feel really small. So this car actually fills out the garage well, and there's still plenty of room to navigate around. But yeah, let's start it up. I actually love the cold start. Very nice, very racy. Does that quick one rev before it kind of goes into idle. Nowhere near as loud as this bad boy. This thing is abusively loud. It is like not even right loud. Like it should be illegal how loud it is. This car starts up and it literally sounds like I'm getting into a Camry. That thing starts up and it sounds like I'm about to get into a freaking NASCAR race car or something. But both cars are very different. I love them both dearly. They drive so differently, have very different characteristics. I'm hearing a couple of noises, so let me go make sure what that sound is, and from there, take the car out and see if I can hear any intake sounds. Oh, the sound was my music playing. I was hearing like a squeaky-ish sound. It was music, so we're all good. Sounds fine. I'm gonna take it out real quick and try and capture some videos of the intake once I have another person here to kind of capture that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get it done. It's not quite warm yet, so I'm not gonna get on it too much in the garage. I'm just gonna rev and see if I can hear any induction sound. I mean, it sounds a little bit louder. I hear a slight whistle, which I heard that this type of design sometimes does have a very slight whistle. But I can't hear anything induction related yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a drive, let it warm up, and then come back and see if I hear anything on downshifts or whatnot. But so far, loving the car, absolutely fantastic. And I love how when you get on it, you can see that lift. It's a pretty cool feature. It's a great place to be in here, quite roomy. Oh, I mentioned this in the last video actually. So let me actually get in the car. So this is me sitting, and I'm 6'1", optimal height. Even with all of this hair here, this is the roof up here. So you can see there's still quite a bit. Like this is my, if I were to put my hair down, you can see there's a pretty good gap. A solid, almost a solid foot between literally like the base of my forehead to here. So it's spacious. Like you sit down and you kind of like angle downwards into it, so you're not like sitting very flat. Like in the M3, the seat is elevated like this, but in the Lotus, the way they kind of give you a little bit more of that room is the seat kind of angles downward, so that downward slope allows you to actually be a little bit lower. And then they also did these humps here, as you can kind of see from the outside of the body with the bubble roof. So it's a little lower right here, but you got these humps which give a little bit of room. So no issues for me with wanting to race, put a helmet on, any of those issues. So I'm pretty happy there. But yeah, let me go ahead and take it out, see what it sounds like, make sure I installed it right, and then try and get you guys some intake sounds.